All right, we're now live on YouTube, and I hope that this microphone is good enough. Let me know if you guys can't hear me. Let's see if we got anybody joining us yet. I think, yeah, we got 63 people now joined on. Let's see if I can find the comments. Not sure if I'm going to see YouTube. No, we have YouTube comments turned off. The comments are currently only on the chat through EssentialWorks TV. That's what's going on here. So we can say hi to Sandra and Luis. And I think you guys can hear us okay, right? Right. Yeah. So live on YouTube and EssentialWorks TV. Thank you, James and is this one working? Yep, Corey for joining the Ascension Summit, the Disclosure Summit. Yeah, stop saying Ascension. We have the Ascension Summit in 2021. I can't see you. There you go. Oh, look, we have James. Yeah. Yep. I think I can zoom this back. Okay. Yeah, yeah, we can turn it on YouTube. Yeah, so James had a nice travel experience.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was really trying to see the curvature of the Earth, but it was cloudy, so I couldn't tell. That's a whole nother topic.
Yes, it is. And so, Corey, how have you been doing this week?
Pretty good. Working on my presentation like a madman. Really excited. It's going to be basically a briefing that I was given over 2 different briefings over about a year apart. And 2022 and 2023 were the time periods. And basically they're telling me this was a briefing to me to let me know what different senators and other people were getting as briefings from David Rush and others behind the scenes. And it involves, extraterrestrials, of course, other dimensional beings, and then something else, something that they call the ultra-dimensional presence on our planet. And it's actually what we're engaging with the most. And I'm looking forward to dropping those details.
You think that's one of the things that gets lumped under the demonic category by some of these fundamentalists in the military?
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be a part of the presentation. This thing it's a very dark presence, and they interact with it. It has the ability to manifest and materialize into our reality and to just poof, disappear out. It's actually the aliens have warned us about it for decades, and we didn't listen to them. Aliens have come here to visit Earth at different times and actually done battle with whatever this is and kicked their ass. It's a very tough force, but I look forward to going into quite a bit of detail about what the military and Stanford and North Carolina scientists have been studying over the last couple of decades about this presence.
I could share. Actually, I've found a lot of benefit from James, your clearing recommendations on your website.
Yeah.
And I recommend that to all of our friends who are doing contact work or anything that might be a little bit spiritually dangerous situation where you want to have extra protection.
Yeah.
So how did you come up with your techniques, your exercises for clearing?
Well, I studied with the I studied with the Tibetan Foundation and the teachings of the Inner Christ, and then with lamas and yogis and things for like over 40 years. So it's kind of a combination of all that and different masters. And so the main foundation comes out of the TIC, which is a blend of East and Western thought, but it's the tools, it's the how to do it, So because right after my near death experience, I was blown wide open and I could see beautiful beings and nasty beings. And when the nasty beings know you can see them, they come after you and they try to hook into your. Like if you go into a bar, there's a whole bunch of discarnate spirits up there trying to get their hit vicariously through others. So
they call it spirits for a reason.
Yeah, and when you have a monkey on your back, you really do have an entity on your back saying, "Come on, one more drink on one another." And so, but it even goes beyond that. Like Corey's talking about, you've got these sort of rays and serpent beings and reptilian beings and all this other stuff. And it's just a big mess. It's just a big complicated mess. But a lot of people are in denial and they think it's all like goji berries and meditation and turning your body into a pretzel. That's enlightenment, but it's not, because enlightenment means to be in knowledge of both sides. You have to know the dark side and the light side and how to deal with it. If not, you're just gonna get run over by it.
Yeah. One thing that I put in my presentation that I'll share about, I've noticed in the rock contact material, they talk about basically a recurring theme in our solar system, which is like with the destruction of the planet they call Maldek, with the way in which Mars became uninhabitable because of warfare there.
Yeah.
And then again repeated with Atlantis and the warfare that happened with Atlantis with these crystal technologies that they were using. It seems as though it's just been a constant, never-ending cycle of humanity not learning its lessons and just falling for the trap.
It is. It's even the Anunnaki that came here. They did the same thing. They did the exact same thing. They got into turf wars and they got into power struggles and and they fell from unity consciousness, and then their technology was so advanced, they've blown up planets. And it's the first place they've messed up other places.
Yeah. It's like just recognizing what we're up against is the hardest part to convince people.
The good news is though that there's a greater force coming in behind this, and they're not frequency specific because theirs evolving. She's going to the next level, and so they're just like lashing out right now, trying to create as much chaos and pain and suffering they can, wars and all that stuff, because that's the only way they can maintain their world, their existence, basically. So we're in the middle of that. It's a multi-dimensional war. It's like, what do you call it, temporal wars. It has time involved.
Yeah, time and
for the muggles to wrap their head around this, it's going to be rough. If they just go to CNN and mainstream news, they're not seeing the big picture at all. They're just being socially engineered.
It seems like a rare opportunity to have people come together with knowledge like you guys have and talk about these things. It seems as though there's almost like a disclosure narrative that's taking off now, that it's just sort of more mainstream controlled again. And
yeah, well, I watched it happen. I watched real dark money come in a lot, and it's we all know the banksters are the satanic experts, right? That Rockefeller, all those guys. And so this money came in and it went into the biggest groups and it took over the conferences and everything.
It did.
And so the people who are authentic got pushed out. And even if you had a spiritual message, you got pushed out. And so now you've got a whole lot of, people get pissed at me, posers out there just keeping a controlled narrative going. But they're still trying to figure out if UFOs are real or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, we know them by name. We know who's on the ships. We have personal friends on those ships. It's so far beyond that, but they don't want that out. They don't want that information out.
Yeah, the spiritual connection seems to be one of the more controversial aspects. We're kind of boxed away into religion or something entertainment, I guess.
Because it empowers you. Because there's an old saying, an awakened God is really hard to handle. You can't control it, and so there's that God seed within us. When it opens up and expands, you have that direct knowingness, and you're telepathic, and people can't find you anymore, and so you can't be controlled anymore. And that's the biggest nightmare, is losing control.
It is, and this dark force, from everything we've learned, it's not something living outside in the world. It's something that invaded our frequency in our mass consciousness. When you have those intrusive thoughts, when you have those weird temptations, anger, and all of these different things, that's being driven by this force. And what these different aliens have told us is they're not exactly sure what it is, to be honest, but that it has invaded us, it's within us. And the higher spiritual beliefs create like an antivirus that roots out whatever this is and doesn't allow it to reside in you.
Yeah.
Because the more you fall to those temptations, the more you fall to that behavior, into the fear and into the hatred, the more this thing manifests in your life and feeds off of you. And the people who have done the inner work and who have a high vibration spiritual belief are not as susceptible to this state. It's like I said, an antivirus.
Yeah, and the problem though is more enlightened you are, is the more light you have, the more moths come to the flame, and that force is going to go through friends, family,
Exactly. That's part of it.
everybody, and it's going to try to disrupt and divide and tear you down.
Whoever they can use for a public.
Yeah, and so people need to realize that. And like you're saying too, a lot of the emotions aren't ours that we're feeling. They're the collective, or they're coming from these other entities, and we have to start setting boundaries now. Like, not mine. Okay, I was fine before I walked in this room. You know, where's this coming from? And do clearings and clear
That's
the
a
room.
big part of the battle, right?
Yeah.
This whatever this is, it doesn't want us to know about it.
No.
It's like in certain religions that say the biggest trick the devil pulled was convincing us he wasn't real.
Yeah,
You know, whatever this force is, it doesn't want us to be aware of it. That because when you're aware of it, you're vigilant.
Yeah. You know, what's funny? You mentioned that earlier about the clearings that we do. I've had these people call me up, and they're like they're what do you call them? SEALs, the Navy SEAL. All these guys like this, and I've had some of them on my show every once in a while. And they go, "Yeah, we use your clearance all the time." You know, so we always look to you to find out what's going on. I go, "What are you talking about? You're in the middle of things. You should know what you know." It's hilarious when you see that, and I'm really glad that's getting out, because it's another kind of warfare that we need. It's a tool that we need to incorporate into our tool bag, because if you don't, I know some people have just a real strong foundation of being good. I mean, you don't have to be religious. You're just a good person, and those people that have a really hard time cracking their aura, getting in and messing with it, because they have a foundation, and strong foundation. So you don't have to be a guru or anything else. You just have to have that strong foundation in service, service to others, helping others, caring, practicing love and kindness, things like that. That builds your field up, and anything that's outside of that, you got to observe yourself. Go, oh, wait a second, where that come from there? And I catch it myself all the time. They come in, they plant thoughts, and they try to create a huge division, and then
And it can happen quickly. You can get caught up in it before you realize what's happening.
Yeah, and all of a sudden you go, whoa, wait a second. I'm not going to play this game. You just back out of it, and then you can see it clearly. But most people just get caught into it and start projecting and blaming. It creates a big mess storm, So the main thing is about observing ourselves and monitoring our emotions and our feelings, and knowing the high vibrational, attitudes, emotions, or that service to others, love, joy, and bliss, things like that. That's your natural state. Anything outside of that is something either needs to be healed or some other entity messing with you.
And the root is healing, because if you heal, it doesn't have anything to manipulate or agitate you with.
Yeah, it's got to find a chink in your armor. And that's what we do. We clear the old wounds and traumas and wrong conclusions from past experience. It takes those chinks out of your armor and raises your frequency up. But we tell people, now that you're operating on this frequency, you got to keep your frequency clear. You got to hang out with the right people, change your diet, maybe get out in nature more, and really observe your surroundings, because these other entities will come and try to.
One moment of weakness.
Yeah, it's like the tall poppy, it's gotta cut it, makes us look bad.
I do think it's almost like there's an added benefit of doing a specific kind of invocation, like the Christ light, the Christ love.
Yeah.
And when you begin to identify the nature of the Christ light and the Christ love is a certain state within you that you're familiar with. It's like you go beyond the words and you find that deeper state, and that sort of, it's almost like a crystallization of the connection to that.
Exactly. And people think, you're invoking Jesus, and things like that, or Buddha or stuff like that. Well, they're a level of consciousness that they attained, and their name, like his name wasn't Jesus.
It has power.
But Yeshua and Joseph.
And it's an antivirus to whatever this is.
Yeah, it does help bring it in, but the problem is when you take that and then you create a religion around it, now you have a division, and that division is judging everything else outside of itself, which is God too.
Most people don't really hate Jesus. They just hate the people they've met.
Yeah.
That
Well, I had a friend of
say
mine
they
that was a
are
druid.
Christians, you
She
know.
was a druid and she was really, really angry, you know, and she was like, "Hey, Jesus, he killed our people." She's just really upset about all this stuff. And I said, "Really?" I said, "Jesus did that?"
On his horse.
Yeah, and I said, "So he came in there with a sword or spear and killed your people?" And she started thinking about it, you know, and I said, "No, the same people that killed him killed your people.
Right.
It wasn't him, you know." And so I said, you know, was there Christianity before Christ? You know, how about Buddhism? You know,
There's a lot.
was Buddha a Buddhist?
Yeah.
You know, no, he wasn't Buddhist. That came afterwards, right? So that was the men organizing it afterwards. But if we get back to the base foundation of what they taught, they're all saying the same thing: be kind and love each other. You know, make your own personal connection with Creator. That's in a nutshell what they are taught.
Yeah.
It's humans that added all the rest.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see how much we can screw this up.
So you want to share anything more with us about what you plan to talk about on Sunday?
You know what? I have 3 different directions I can go in, and I'm kind of fill the crowd out and see which way, because there's one's like the spanking presentation, and come on guys, is it worth it? You know, what's worth love and joy and bliss? Let's get back to your bliss. And you know, all the division games that are being played, you know, and try to address that. And then the other one is more of the almost, you know, has some political stuff in it, what's really going on, you know, from my understanding. And then one is the big picture where it's all tied, goes back to source and through the sun, central sun, through the sun to the earth, and how everything is on the rise. We're all moving to the next level, and how that works and how it affects you and everything. So I might incorporate all 3.
Yeah,
I have an
awesome.
hour and a half, which is, so I'll try to, but I just kind of go, I don't like to program things into, you know, I kind of go free flow a little bit.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And we have flexibility. If you'd like to join us on a panel Saturday or Sunday, we're gonna have a panel discussion.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll be there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get more questions from the audience then, and the live stream crowd too. Yep.
We were talking earlier about calling my presentation I don't know, you know, because I think that's a problem right now, is everybody thinks they know and they heard somebody else tell a story, but they don't have any personal experience around it. They haven't really sat.
No one ever says I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of the people you see online and in this community, people ask them a question and they always freaking pull an answer out of the meeting.
Yeah.
They never say, "Oh, I don't know."
You ever just sat with that for a while, you know? Just,
Yeah.
like some of the Native American elders, I would go up and ask them questions and say, "Yeah, that's a good question. See that tree over there? Go sit by it and see what happens."
See what it,
Yeah.
see what the tree
And,
was.
and I go, wow. And then I realized whenever you have a question, the answer's there too. You didn't wait, you know, you just wait on it. But, you know, when people start rapid firing you all these questions, you're going, whoa, slow down. You asked me one question, wait a minute, let's see the answer. Let's find the answer here. Next one. But it is, when you say, I don't know, you're dismissing your ego. Because your I is your ego, because there's no I when you get higher realms. But it's just really powerful. I was taught that by a master once. He said, I want you to say, I don't know. And I sat there and I thought about it. I go, I don't know. I don't know anything. I haven't experienced it. Even that might be an illusion. I said, I don't know anything. And they said, yeah, well, start your thought process with that. Yeah.
Well, that seems to be important to these beings, even, you know, not to bring up the Bible, that have problems with it, but, you know, the story of Moses leading the Jews in the desert. And at one period, he kept going up on the mountain, coming back down, and hearing all the people cry and moan. And one of the times he came down and they were asking for water. And in this, he got upset and he said, why do we, meaning him and God, why do we have to keep fulfilling all of these requests? Or whatever? He was upset. And the next time he went up on the top of the mountain, the God told him that he was not going to make it into heaven because he had assigned himself in that role by not saying, why are you asking this of God? He said, why are you asking this of us? Taking on the ego.
Yeah.
And that is the reason why he was denied entrance into heaven, according to Genesis.
It really, one thing I wanted to talk about, like even imagination is real on the level of imagination. So some people think like the earth, in 2D, the earth is flat, in 3D, it might be something else, and in 4D, it's whatever you think it is, because you're creating your own reality there. It's a thought world. And so it's like, but right, if you want to argue for the 3D level, I have a lot of questions on that one, that because I'm out in nature a lot and I watch the sunrise, the rise, go down, back, satellites go over right on time, and I just don't see them stopping and then coming back the other way, they don't, and the timing and is perfect, like it's all written. So there's a lot of other things in there. But I'm still keeping an open mind. I'll go, okay, show me. And I've heard a lot of the evidence, and a lot of it can be dismissed, but they have some good points in there that I would have to go see for myself. I would have to go research it, or if it's not my own personal experience, I can't say one way or another. Same as people, people take on that kind of stuff. Yeah, so he's this, he's that, And then I meet these guys and they're cool. They're really nice. And it's just other people's projections and unhealed stuff that was going out. So it's the same thing. It's like, get your own firsthand experience. So you can have your own contact. You can create that if you want. You can connect with God if you want. I mean, nothing's stopping us. So other than giving away our power to everybody else. Or the belief in separation. It's just makes sense to presence.
Yeah, I mean, you could say all physical reality is just a projection like a movie screen. There's really no outward space. It's just imagination in your head, a dream.
Yeah. Very persistent. But what did Einstein say? Something like it's all an illusion, although a very persistent one.
Yeah, he said that the universe seemed more like a giant thought than anything else. That's what Einstein said.
I always tell people, while you have a physical body, you can look at a tree and say, that tree's an illusion. It's supposed to water anyway. Then take a run at it and see what happens. If you have a physical body, you're going to have a physical experience. You're going to have a big wake up call. So I think it's just as important what we do on the physical level, as it affects the other dimensions as well as our future as well. Because if you go terrorize the earth and destroy everything, you yourself are going to bring that on you, and your next incarnations are going to depend on that too, how you treated the earth and people either. So it's like let's bring it here, bring it here where we are. Put it out in the ether somewhere.
A lot of one books do talk about a law of responsibility as being a corollary of the law of one. That as we take on bodies, as we take on knowledge, then we have a certain responsibility that's we basically programmed into our reality. This is what we're meant to be doing with this incarnation and caring for the people that we're meant to care for and helping heal that which we wanted to heal to begin with. So there seems to be a lot of these almost like mini contracts that we're taking in.
Yeah, I'll do that and talk about that. It's a long story. I'll go there, but we've made so many agreements, and when we made the agreements, we're in more of a light body, usually our spiritual body, but I can do that. Drunk, angry father, this, that, piece of cake. From here, from the level that you're making that decision, it seems really easy. I can come in and I can skip out of there and get on with my purpose. But then everybody gets wounds and traumas, and they get stuck, and they get knocked down, and entangled, and then and so it's so important to release that, and get on with where we're all unique. We're all here for a reason, You know, it's like we're not here to be somebody else or idolize something else exterior, you know, it's all, it's, you know, be the master, don't, you know, if a master's not empowering you to make your own personal connection with creator, then they're feeding off of this. There's a lot of that going on.
I don't know. I think maybe we should wrap this up soon.
Yeah.
And if people like this conversation, where did they go to get online tickets?
thedisclosuresummit.com.
Thedisclosuresummit.com.
Yeah.
We hope that everyone joins us for the online event. There are going to be some very interesting presentations, and yeah, we hope you're there.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
No time.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
Still.